Good Monday. It's time for the Show Me Almanac for October 3rd, 2016. We started the day off with partly cloudy skies, patchy fog early this morning, temperatures in the lower 50s with light and variable wind. Partly sunny skies for this afternoon, and temperatures warming up into the mid-70s with light and variable winds shifting to the southeast at about 10 miles an hour. A few clouds for tonight, and partly sunny throughout the day tomorrow with a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms developing on Tuesday night. I'll have more details on the weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Taking a look at the community calendar for today, for the third day of October, and a few events to tell you about. Includes a Red Cross blood drive going on at the Christian Church at 120 West Monroe Street in La Plata. That runs from 1 until 5:30 this afternoon. Blood donation appointments can be easily scheduled by using the Red Cross Blood Donor app on your smartphone or tablet computer, visiting redcrossblood.org, or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. Again, that's a Red Cross blood drive going on today from 1 until 5:30 at the Christian Church at 120 West Moore Street in La Plata. Also going on today, the Macon County Health Department has WIC reader certification by appointment only, along with TB testing at their office at 503 North Missouri Street in Macon. For details, call 660-385-4711. That is 660-385-4711. Coming up tomorrow, the Adair County Health Department is hosting a drive-through flu clinic at a couple of locations, one at the Nemo Fairgrounds here in Kirksville, the other south of the Novinger Fire Station on Highway 6 from noon until 6. For persons for ages 3 years and older, flu vaccine covers 4 flu strains. Please wear a short-sleeved shirt or loose-fitting clothing. No cost to Adair County residents. Please bring Medicare or Medicaid cards to either location. Again, that's the Nemo Fairgrounds in Kirksville, or to the location south of the Novinger Fire Station in Novinger. For details, call 665-8491. That is 660-665-8491, or visit the Adair County Health Department website for more information. And if you go to the Nemo Fairgrounds location, participants are encouraged to enter via Patterson Street entrance and then follow the signs to the vaccination location. Coming up this weekend, the Scottish Highland Games are returning to Kirksville. Check out the games on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. at the Faith Lutheran School, 1820 South Baltimore Street in Kirksville. Jackson Weightlifting Club hosts the longest-running Highland Games in the Show Me State. Following classes will be available for registration: A, B, C, Masters 40 through 49, Masters 50 and up, Open Women and Masters Women, minimum 7 standard Highland events. For more information, check out their Facebook page. Again, that's the Scottish Highland Games returning to Kirksville this Saturday. Also going on, check out the Randolph YMCA before and after school program for some various organizations for area youngsters in the Randolph County area. And the Shrine of St. Patrick Corn Maze is open on weekends this month from now through October 23rd. St. Patrick is located 15 miles southeast of Cahokia on Highway 81. Open Fridays from 5 until 8, Saturdays from noon to 8, and Sundays from noon to 4. For more information or to book your group, contact Kristen Roth at 727-3472. That is 660-727-3472. Again, partly sunny skies in the weather picture for today. Temperatures warming up into the mid-70s. Lows tonight in the upper 50s. Chance of showers and thunderstorms developing tomorrow. Complete details on the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. It's time now for the latest in local and regional news of interest in northern and central Missouri on this, the third day of October. And leading off the news today, extra police officers were patrolling all Kirksville schools Friday as a result of the nationwide clown scare and generic threats that people dressed as clowns are going to kill teachers. Deputy Police Chief of the Kirksville Police Department, Steve Farnsworth, says the extra precautions were prompted by a local high school student who sent an email of concern to a teacher expressing his fears that something might happen locally. Police say there was no specific threat made toward Kirksville schools, but administrators were instructing teachers all day to keep their classroom doors locked which the superintendent says they're supposed to do anyway.
We do take that seriously, even though there was no specific threat. We thought it'd be good to get ahead of the game and start some extra patrols and keep an eye on everything.
Farnsworth said the Kirksville Police Department met with school personnel about extra precautions that could be taken at Kirksville schools. He says the department also contacted the colleges in town to make them aware of the creepy clown situation. In a statement on the school district's Facebook page, Superintendent Dr. Damon Kaziri said that, as a precaution, staff has been made aware, all doors are locked, monitored, and police are providing extra patrols. Farnsworth says hopefully the whole clown scare dies out soon, runs its course, and that nobody gets hurt. Meanwhile, 2 separate clown sightings of creepy clowns were reported to the Kirksville Police Department on Wednesday night. Police said 2 people wearing clown costumes were located at the Airco convenience store on North Baltimore Street. The clowns reportedly admitted they were playing around and planning to scare one of their friends who worked nearby. The second sighting of a clown happened on South High Street in Kirksville. The person who called police reported seeing one clown in that area. The clown disappeared by the time officers could get there to investigate. The 2 sightings in Kirksville come on the heels of clown sightings earlier last week, in Macon, Moberly, and north of Callio, Missouri. So far, no criminal activity has been associated with the local subjects who dressed up as clowns. Other recent clown sightings in northern Missouri include one in Macon County on Tuesday night. Macon County Sheriff Kevin Shoemaker says that a single clown was spotted at a home on Highway 3, north of Callio. He said the clown knocked on the home's door, I should say. Earlier last week, there were also clown spottings reported in both Macon, Moberly, as well as in other communities, including Fayette. Shoemaker said that as a result of the clown scare, the Atlanta C3 School District requested that his agency provide extra patrol throughout the day on Wednesday. A parent of an Atlanta student says there were 3 law enforcement vehicles at the school Wednesday afternoon when she went to pick up her daughter after school. Again, as with the aforementioned cases, no criminal activity related to the clowns has been reported in this area. In other news today, with the new Randolph County Courthouse in operation on Route JJ in Huntsville, traffic patterns to the administration and justice centers have been altered. Eastern District Commissioner Wayne Wilcox has the details.
The building and the layout is designed for folks to enter off of Route JJ at the easternmost entrance. It is a new gravel drive, a concrete approach off of JJ. Basically, it's right at the edge of the Huntsville city limits, coming from the east. Coming from the west, you would need to go just past Don's Restaurant and then turn right into the facility.
Wilcox says the Randolph County Collector's Office will have a staffed drive-through window as well as a night drop. He adds that the public can access the night drop on foot.
There is a special sidewalk up to a night drop that's handicap accessible. That's right adjacent to the drive-up window. The entrance is off of the main driveway there, and so there is still a night drop, just like there has been at the old facility.
The Randolph County Collector's Office is open weekdays between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. In state news, Missouri Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Jason Kander says he supports an immigration reform proposal sponsored by Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio.
Senator Rubio's bill increased funding for security at the border, and that is where we need to start.
Republican Senator Roy Blunt says he opposes a pathway to citizenship for those who are in the United States illegally. Both oppose free college tuition. Blunt says year-round Pell Grants for college students should be restored.
And if you get full Pell in our state, there's no community college that doesn't pay for all tuition, all books, all fees. And a couple of our four-year schools, it pays for all tuition, all books, and all fees.
Kander says no-cost tuition would be too expensive.
But here's something we can do. We can make it where people who have student loans can refinance that student loan the same way they can a home loan or an auto loan. We can cap the interest that they pay.
The two participated Friday in a forum in Branson. Meanwhile, candidates for Missouri governor squared off Friday in Branson as well, with both major candidates debating over multiple issues, including education. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris Koster calls education Missouri's greatest economic driver.
And if you get full Pell in our state,
higher education in the state, investment in it has been cut by 40%, and the K-12 budget, the foundation formula itself, has seen about a 25% decline.
Republican gubernatorial candidate Eric Greitens says student achievement must improve in Missouri's K-12 schools, especially among minorities.
Only 2.7% of African American kids in Missouri graduate from high school having passed one single advanced placement class. It's the third worst rate in the nation.
The two candidates debated during the annual meeting of the Missouri Press Association. A retired Navy commander and area lawyer are among 14 people granted pardons by Governor Jay Nixon after fulfilling probation sentences and living productive lives. The governor issued the pardons on Friday to 6 individuals with ties to northern and central Missouri. Among them was Gregory Kirkwood, who was placed on probation for 5 years after his conviction in 1987 for 2 counts of stealing in Boone County. Kirkwood joined the Navy a year later and served for 2 decades, attaining the rank of commander and completing a tour of service in Iraq. The governor also pardoned Joshua Frey, who completed a 5-year probation term after being found guilty in Sheridan County of 2 counts of tampering and 1 count of property damage back in 1993. Since then, Frey has become active in his community, earning his law degree and becoming a practicing attorney. A man convicted of selling marijuana in Audrain County in 1985, Edward Jennings, was also pardoned by the governor. Jennings received the Distinguished Service Award from the city of Vandalia, for his role in catching an armed suspect who took a woman hostage at a gas station. Pardons were also issued for people who had committed offenses in Buchanan, Greene, Grundy, Jasper, Marion, Newton, Pettis, Platte, St. Charles, and Stoddard counties, ranging in conviction dates from 1954 to 2003. Because gun rights are a politically charged issue, many pediatricians and emergency room physicians are hesitant to talk to parents about ways to prevent gun-related injuries and deaths in children. As a result, most parents report never discussing the issue with their kids. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis are trying to figure out ways to make those conversations easier, as Jim Dryden tells us in this story.
Pediatricians are supposed to talk to parents about gun safety, asking whether there's a gun in the house and then advising them either to get rid of it or to store it more safely. But Washington University researcher Jane Garbett and her team found that those conversations don't often happen. A survey of 1,246 parents at pediatricians' offices found that only 13% of parents report ever having a discussion about firearm safety. Garbett's team also found that about a quarter of parents don't really want to have that discussion. Some even said they'd be offended if asked whether they have a gun. So her team is recommending that, as with poison or prescription medications or other potentially dangerous things, pediatricians might potentially offer safety advice without ever asking if there's a gun in the house.
It's a safety thing as opposed to a violence prevention thing. It's not judgmental, and we don't have to ask if you have a gun in the home.
The new study is published in the Journal of Pediatrics. I'm Jim Dryden.
Thank you very much, Jim. And in other news today, a Montgomery City woman sustained moderate injuries in an accident on the South Outer Road of I-70 in Callaway County Saturday afternoon. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says that 32-year-old Michaela Bryant's car went off the side of the road east of Kingdom City and overturned at about 2:45. She is taken to a Columbia hospital for treatment of her injuries. Meanwhile, 2 men were arrested after a shots-fired incident outside of Columbia apartment complex Saturday morning. Columbia police responded to the report at around 4:50 on the 1000 block of Claudel Lane, where they located multiple shell casings along with the suspect's vehicle. Officers say one of the 2 men, 33-year-old Rod Jamal Jones of Illinois, had a handgun in his waistband and took off on foot, but was later captured near Stadium Boulevard and Ash Street. A second man, 20-year-old Marlon Johnson of Columbia, exited the vehicle and briefly struggled with officers before his arrest. Officers say the shell casings matched live rounds found in the vehicle. No injuries were reported, and charges are pending against the 2 men. A third request by Clean Line Energy for its proposed 3,500-megawatt Grain Belt Express transmission line through Missouri is before the Public Service Commission. The request for a certificate for convenience and necessity will allow the company to build and operate power lines stretching from western Kansas across Missouri and Illinois into the state of Indiana. Now, a question many people have is if commissioners were planning to take a position on the matter. Randolph County Presiding Commissioner John Truesdale says the commission is planning to sit this battle out.
We know that that's where the decision is at. We're comfortable with that, and we're going to allow those folks to make that decision. The county is not going to weigh in on it. We'll wait and see what they decide and what they do. We're not going to take a side either for it or against it. We're going to remain completely neutral in it and allow the Public Service Commission to do their job and to render a decision.
The PSC rejected a similar request last year, saying supporters did not demonstrate the project's necessity. A procedural hearing took place last Wednesday. Missouri Governor Jay Nixon has named a former Department of Agriculture official and area farmer as the new director of the Department of Natural Resources. Harry Bozian currently serves as a senior policy advisor to the governor, specializing in environmental and agricultural issues. After spearheading responses to major flooding in spring of 2011 and drought conditions a year later, Bozian became deputy director of agriculture late that year. He became interim director in October of 2013 and served until the appointment of Richard Fordyce as director the following February. Bozian will take over the DNR on October 7th, replacing Sarah Parker Pauley, who was just named the new director of the Department of Conservation. While Bozian lives in Columbia, he maintains farmland in Monroe and Sheridan counties. A Macon resident sustained moderate injuries after overturning his utility vehicle in the 10-mile community over the weekend. Highway patrols responded to the accident, which occurred before 9:30 Friday night, as 32-year-old Mark Moots attempted to make a left turn from southbound Route K onto Route AA. Troopers say Moots lost control of the vehicle and overturned. He is taken by private vehicle to a nearby hospital for treatment. The red, black, and blue lines that crisscross maps tell more than how to get from point A to point B. They also tell a story about our region's history and culture. That's according to Moberly Area Community College Associate Professor of Art, Felicia Leach, who says they're also inspiration for much of her artwork.
What I do is I look at how you can describe a space or a place based upon a layering of description and time. What I've done in Missouri is I've taken mini maps and put them together, and that produces kind of like a key map image. And I take that, which is considered a landscape, but it doesn't have a horizon. So I take the lines on the map and make it into what looks like a traditional landscape with a horizon and atmosphere and a foreground and a middle ground and a background.
Leach says she produces her works by combining transportation, natural, and historic maps. She says when layered together, subtle differences appear.
When you layer them together, it's kind of like getting stories, like if somebody had gone on the same vacation with their friends, and then their friends, we all come back and we ask, well, what was vacation like? The story would be pretty much the same, but they would have these little discrepancies. So as you go through and look at how all these maps are similar, you can also see these little nuances of how it was seen and how also it was described.
Several of her pieces have featured a cross-section of the Interstate 70 corridor and the Missouri River. This past summer, she created a similar piece of Shenandoah National Park in Virginia as the park's artist in residence. That piece is now part of the National Park Service's collection, celebrating the agency's centennial year. A Missouri-based researcher says people who support losing presidential candidates are especially emotional after elections. The Missouri Net's Jason Taylor has the story.
Washington University professor Lamar Pierce co-authored a report which examined happiness levels of people who identified with a political party during the 2012 election. For comparison, the study also looked at human response to two tragedies, the Boston Marathon bombing and the Sandy Hook shooting. Surprisingly, the negative impact on happiness from the tragedies was almost identical to the reaction of people on the losing side of the election.
What that really suggests to us is that the effects we saw on happiness were really quite big from the election. These weren't sort of inconsequential, like, I feel a little bit unhappy. These were sort of the same order of magnitude as the tragedies were. And that suggests, people really take these election outcomes to heart from an emotional standpoint.
The study also shows that several days after the election, the negative impact on those on the losing Republican side had completely subsided. Pierce said this result suggests that people involve themselves in elections similar to the way sports fans root for teams. Jason Taylor, Missouri Net.
Thank you very much, Jason. That concludes local and regional news of interest in northern and central Missouri for today. Still to come, we'll check in with the Missouri Net in just a moment. Right now, though, taking a look at the community calendar for tomorrow, for the 4th day of October. And quite a few events to tell you about. First of all, the Missouri Veterans Commission office on the first floor of the Adair County Courthouse is open Monday through Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. For more information about the services they provide, call 785-2460. That's 660-785-2460. Also, the Adair County Health Department is holding their drive-through flu clinic tomorrow. Location will be at the Nemo Fairgrounds, as well as south of the Novinger Fire Station on Highway 6 from noon until 6. It is for persons ages 3 years and older. Please wear a short-sleeve shirt or loose-fitting clothing. No cost to Adair County residents. Please bring a Medicare or Medicaid card. For more information, call 665-8491. That is 660-665-8491. Or visit the Adair County Health Department website for more details. By the way, fairground participants will need to enter the clinic via Patterson Street, then follow the signs to the location. And a reminder, the Macon County Health Department office will be closed tomorrow due to their drive-through flu clinic. For more details about that, call 385-4711. The Macon County Health Department drive-through flu clinic runs from noon until 6 tomorrow and is for anyone over the age of 18 years old. Locations include the Macon County Fairgrounds, the Callio Christian Church, and the Atlanta Community Center. Drive up only. Bring insurance cards. Self-pay 65 and under is $30. Self-pay over 65 is $50. Wear a short-sleeve shirt. You should not receive a vaccine if you have a severe reaction or have fainted in the past, are allergic to eggs, chickens, or feathers, or currently have a severe illness. And one other reminder, actually two more reminders for you. There's a Red Cross blood drive going on tomorrow at the First Baptist Church in Memphis, located at 910 North Weaver Street in Memphis. That is from 12:30 until 6. Again, a Red Cross blood drive going on tomorrow from 12:30 until 6 at the First Baptist Church at 910 North Weaver Street in Memphis. Blood donation appointments can be easily scheduled by using the Red Cross Blood Donor app, visiting redcrossblood.org, or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. And the Faith Lutheran School is hosting their annual Fall Festival this Friday at 5:30 at the Nemo Fairgrounds. The admission is $6, which includes a meal, 5 carnival game tickets. Activities include assorted carnival games, along with a petting zoo, bingo for all ages, a dessert table, live and silent auctions, plus a whole lot more. We'll have a complete look at the weather forecast in just a few moments. Right now, though, it's time to check in with the Missouri Net for the latest news from around the state, sports information, as well as across our wide Missouri on this Monday, the 3rd day of October.
Missouri Net News, I'm Jason Taylor. St. Louis police shot and wounded a 14-year-old boy after he fired a shot at officers Sunday morning. Officers had been searching for a car taken in a carjacking late last month when, after a short pursuit, they stopped and tried to talk to at least one teen. The boy ran off, then fired one shot before officers returned fire. The 2 officers involved are white, the teen's black. The boy was in critical but stable condition at a hospital. Witnesses told police they heard the pursuing officers identify themselves as police and order the teen to get down. State lawmakers are looking to improve conditions for Missouri school students with dyslexia. A legislative task force was formed last month to deal with the learning disorder. It's the product of a measure passed this year which seeks to develop guidelines for screening dyslexic students and provide classroom support for them. Republican Senator Bob Onder comes to the task force with the experience of having a son with dyslexia. He says schools currently don't offer much assistance to such students.
By and large, the school districts do not do anything to recognize it. When it is brought to their attention, often parents are told that dyslexia is a medical diagnosis. It's not an educational or learning-related diagnosis, and these kids aren't given help.
The 20-member task force includes a bipartisan group of 3 state senators, along with people from a range of professional backgrounds. They'll advise the state's education agency on guidelines for supporting dyslexic students. Legislation calls for a program to be in place by 2018 2014, teachers will be required to take 2 hours of training on dyslexia. A couple of arrests have been made after shots were fired in Columbia over the weekend. Officers got a description of a car that may have been involved early Saturday. They found the car and arrested Illinois native Rod Jones and Columbia native Marlon Johnson. No reports of injuries during the shots fired. And a motorcycle rider has died in an I-70 crash taking place yesterday afternoon in Saline County. Traffic stop data is being reviewed again by the Columbia Police Department. Chief Ken Burton wants to better understand why his officers are pulling over African Americans more often than their white counterparts.
We've got to teach our officers, all right? You're scared walking up on that car 11 o'clock at night in the dark, right? They're just as afraid of you sometimes. And if that understanding comes through on both sides, I think we can make some progress.
Racial advocates walked out of a Columbia City Council meeting in July protesting the way Burton questioned the traffic stop data. Governor Jay Nixon's appointing Harry Bajoyan as the new Missouri Department of Natural Resources Director effective Friday. Nixon spokesperson Scott Holste talks about DNR.
It is a department that covers a lot of areas, including environmental quality and protection, state parks, geologic survey, and Harry's got good experience in these areas.
Bajoyan will replace Sarah Parker Pauley as DNR Director. Jason Taylor, Missouri Net.
Missouri Net Sports, I'm Bill Pollock. The Chiefs were down 22-0 after the first quarter, 36-0 after the third. They lose 43-14 to the Steelers. Jeremy Macklin says, don't panic.
We've seen teams flip the script on this and take a beating like this and come back and with vengeance and was able to turn the season around. So
Saturday, Mizzou got blown out at LSU 42-7. Nothing Barry Odom can say after that.
Not happy with any part of that performance. They handed it to us in every area.
Mizzou gave up 163 rushing yards to Darius Geis and 131 to Darrell Williams. Mizzou is now 2-3, and Odom says the team is at a crossroads.
But we're going to have to make a decision here moving forward which way we're going to go.
Both the Chiefs and Tigers have a bye week. Now for the good news. Missouri State beat 24th-ranked Indiana State on the road 45-24. It's their first win over a ranked opponent since 2013. Southeast Missouri State upset 13th-ranked Eastern Illinois and Cape. 21-14 win for the Redhawks, only the fifth time they've beaten a ranked opponent. The Fall Classic at Arrowhead, our two nationally ranked teams in Division II met. Number 1 Northwest Missouri State took over in the second half. They beat 23rd ranked Central Missouri 42-17. 20 straight wins for the Bearcats. Quarterback Kyle Zimmerman.
Oh, it's definitely special. You know, as far as the win streak goes, we just kind of attack each week, 1 week at a time, and allow that stuff to take care of itself.
Baseball. Cardinals missed the postseason. Giants win 4 in a row to hold St. Louis off by 1 game in the wild card. But Mike Matheny says his club was right there.
There's no disappointment in winning the last 4 games. Obviously, we had something to do with putting ourselves in that position, but part of my message to the guys is how proud I am of having their backs up against the wall and watching the resolve, watching the fight.
Royals finish 81-81, first time in 4 years. They don't have a winning record. Ned Yost says the offense ran out of gas.
We were just 1-1 away from having a winning season and had 4 cracks at it at the end of the year, and we just couldn't get it. We just couldn't do it.
Bill Pollock, Missouri Net Sports.
Meet Pam and Bob. As a Touchstone Energy Cooperative representative, Pam's answered Bob's questions for years.
I've got a good one today.
Bring it on, Bob.
Why do I keep getting calls about going in the solar power business?
You know what? They called our house, too.
Huh, that had to be weird.
Yeah, a little. Just make sure to contact your local electric co-op before signing anything, like you did.
Learn more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Discover the value of your co-op membership. Visit membersfirst.coop today.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for road trips. We're for covering as much ground as possible on 2, 4, or 18 wheels. We're for drop tops, T-tops, classics, cruisers, pickup trucks, and dump trucks. We're for displaying Missouri plates like medals of pride. Have you ever hit a deer? Yep, we're for you too. We're for getting stuck behind a tractor on a 2-lane highway. And if you're a Missouri driver, we have an auto policy for you. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we've got Missouri covered.
Across our wide Missouri with Bob Pretty. Listen to show archives, hear about this day in Missouri history, and learn more about the Show Me State by visiting MissouriNet.com today.
The State Fair is a rural institution originally created by rural people for rural people, an outgrowth of the community and county fairs in a time when the nation was almost entirely rural. It's surprising, though, that many people from today's urban areas like to go to the fairgrounds every summer and wander through the cattle stalls, chicken exhibits, and the poultry houses. There are some differences now, of course, but to sample a State Fair today is to share many of the same experiences our ancestors shared at the first State Fair in Missouri. That story in a minute.
You're so annoying.
You're so annoying.
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop copying me.
Kids will spend 10 minutes copying everything their sibling says.
You're such a
You're
doofus.
such a doofus.
How about 2 minutes to brush their teeth? Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Mom!
A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Today, a new creature walks among us, causing fear, mayhem, and injury.
Stay back, children.
Look out for the dreaded digital deadwalkers. With faces pressed against their little handheld devices, they put all good citizens in harm's way.
Oh, hey, dude. I'm walking here.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you.
A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, who want to keep everyone well connected with healthy bones.
It came at a time when quilting bees were common, when husking bees were still popular, when horses and buggies plied the unpaved streets of the cities, and when horses and single-bottom plows were breaking in many parts of the country. Horse racing, organized or not, was a constant source of recreation. Each August, you can walk through the present state fairgrounds at Sedalia and share the experiences of the past. You'll smell many of the same smells and hear many of the same sounds that Missourians heard at the first Missouri State Fair. If you enter some of the organized competitions at today's State Fair, you might be entering the same competitions that people entered in the first State Fair. Although the Midway is diesel-powered and electrically lighted with loudspeakers amplifying the hucksters' invitations, many of the booths that test your skills were the same kind of games they played in that first year. You can still marvel at the intricate needlework just as they did that first State Fair. You can experience the same excitement of a horse race, although your seat might be in a somewhat better grandstand. You can ponder how that giant squash was ever grown, just like they did at the first Missouri State Fair. Not in Sedalia in August, but in October of 1853 in Boonville. The legislature created the Missouri State Agriculture Society in February of 1853 to advance agriculture and hold exhibits and fairs. The displays at Boonville came from a dozen counties and at least one other state. A Kentucky entry finished second in one of the livestock judging contests. Boone County won the most premiums, including top honors for tobacco exhibits. Howard and Audrain counties took home honors in the mule jumping and judging. Callaway County produced top draft and saddle horses, while Cooper County won the most prizes for hogs. The exhibits were much the same as they are today in many ways. Clothing and other cloth items made from cotton, silk, linen, and wool were on display. You could win prizes for top exhibits in, well, bread, and in hams and fruit and corn, tobacco, and wheat. The poultry exhibit featured chickens, geese, and guineas, peacocks, and Muscovy ducks. Livestock exhibitors brought in their mules, cattle, their harness horses. The Missouri Statesman, a newspaper of the time, described one exhibit that we'd like to see but not necessarily experience: a rotary fan bedstead, which upon being wound up before retiring, fans one to sleep, keeping off the mosquitoes and the flies. Remember, this was before screen doors and screen windows could keep bugs out when you had to leave the windows open on hot summer nights. The first State Fair lasted 4 days. About 4,000 people attended it the last couple of days. Some of the fragile grandstands collapsed on the last day, but nobody was badly hurt. Some of the same problems that bother modern state fairs were evident the first one in Missouri. The first one lost $3,000. It was 1899 before a state law created the fair as we know it today in Sedalia. The first state fair actually held there was in 1901. But even today, there is still much to remind us of our first state fair, which opened in Boonville on this date, October the 3rd, in 1853.
That was Across Our Wide Missouri with Bob Pretty. To listen to show archives, hear about this day in Missouri history, and learn more about the Show Me State, visit MissouriNet.com.
Time for an update of the weather forecast on this Monday, the 3rd day of October 2016. And looks like we'll see sunny skies throughout the day. Temperatures warming up into the mid-70s with light and variable winds continuing to shift to the southeast about 10 miles an hour. Cloudy skies for tonight, lows in the upper 50s, southeast winds at about 10 miles an hour. Partly sunny for tomorrow, a little bit warmer, highs in the upper 70s, southeast winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour with wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Also cloudy skies Tuesday night, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially after midnight. Lows in the lower 60s, south winds at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Cloudy skies on Wednesday, a 30% chance of rain and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 70s, and then mostly cloudy for Wednesday night, a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, lows around 60. Thursday, cloudy skies with another chance of rain and thunderstorms, lows in the mid-50s to near 60, highs in the upper 70s, and then drying off for Friday under partly cloudy skies, much cooler temperatures. Get this, highs only in the lower 60s, lows in the mid-40s. Saturday, more of the same. And then Sunday, mostly sunny skies, and again, highs in the upper 60s. That's been the latest in local regional news of That's been the latest in local and regional news of interest in northern and central Missouri on this edition of the Show Me Almanac for Monday, October 3rd, 2016. I'm your armchair news reporter and presenter, Joe Hafner, saying my time is up. Thank you for yours.